could be you too. The LWOO show, Lauren Ward overcoming obstacles. Yeah, that's me, and it could be you too.
Welcome, welcome, welcome to the LWOO show, you guys. I have a special treat for you today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today's guest is from the era of gangsters and gentlemen, okay? He is amazing. He decided to stop being a part of the problem and provide solutions. He walked 672 miles, y'all, from Chicago to the White House in August of 2017. Did you hear me? 672 miles from Chicago to the White House in August of 2017. This young man has created a movement and an organization. Replace guns with hammers. We welcome you to D-Nash. Hey!
How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you, D-Nash?
I'm great. I mean, you know, I literally walked from my grandmother's house, Hermione Bennett, 79th and Kim Bark, to the White House, 672 miles.
Wow, so proud of you.
Yeah,
So proud of you. Well, you know, I'm like super excited to just learn more about your organization. What's the mission statement?
Well, it all started from having one realistic goals. You know, the first, I was talking to a friend the other day and I said the first comes before the dream, meaning the first of the month, the bills come before the dream. So you got to have realistic goals. You know, you have to, you know, when people was asking me, how are you gonna walk from Chicago to the White House? I say, well, how do you eat an elephant?
Come on.
One bite at a time.
One bite at a time.
So when you think about any task, anything that seems unattainable or you just can't do it, if you break it down into bite-sized pieces, we can get that.
Yes.
So I was at a meeting with Alderman Pat Dowd and the commissioner of police, Eddie Johnson, and they were talking about all these solutions and the gun violence and this and that, and I just simply told them, I said, well, I'm not going to tell these young men to put their guns down with nothing to replace it with. And one of the things that saved my life after an 8-year prison sentence was construction. So it's really literally replacing the gun with a construction hammer.
Wow.
And so a lot of people, I mean, you know, some people be like, what? You're not gonna shoot them, but you're gonna hit them with a hammer. I'm like, no, that's not what I'm talking about.
Right.
You know, so it was realistic because you got to look at it. For so long, you know, in the black community, if you didn't graduate from college, that means you failed in life. It was one of those stigmas like go to college, go to college, go to college. And yes, education is key, but at the same time, it was making us as a community feel the shame about working with our hands.
Yes.
And so in our community, the vocational skills and all that began to leave the high schools to the detriment of our community, because we were the worker bees. We literally built America off slavery.
Right.
So we were the worker bees. We was the services. We was the people that provided the services for our community. And so you have a vacuum. Everyone is not going to go to college. But when I'm on a construction site and I have a young man of another race, whether it be white, Hispanic, and they've been teaching their kids, some of them going to go to college, but some of them are going to go right into the trades. And they're standing next to me, and I'm making $40 an hour, and they're 18, 19, making $40 an hour. In our community, that's life-changing.
Yes, yes. And so from you doing that, D-Nash, how have you began to see the shift?
Well, you know, when I first came home after the 8 years, I found a community that was calling itself Chiraq, and we're savages.
Yeah.
And like you said in your introduction with me, I come from a gangster and a gentleman town. Whether we like it or not, Chicago is a gangster town. Al Capone, organizations, labor rackets, and all these types of things, labor unions, we've been organized, and we've been a balanced man and woman. A balanced man or woman is a person that know how to dress it up, dress it down, know how to get gutter, but also know how to dress it up. And that's always been our reputation here in Chicago.
Yes.
And what end up happening is when you go so far as to calling yourself Chiraq and saying you're savages, that means you don't have a balance of caring, a balance on the other side of that. Because even when I was doing the worst thing, I had a lady named Miss Savannah. She fed the whole projects, and I was hustling on 35th and State and Stateway Gardens. So we would watch our mouths. We would carry groceries. We would still do things. I've never seen a time in our history in Chicago where our women, our elders, and our children feel unsafe.
Yeah.
This is the worst time throughout the country, because I go throughout the country, and our women and our children and our elders aren't feeling safe. And I feel like us, meaning me included, as black men, we're feeling.
Yeah. And you know, with that's so valuable what you said, and that's why I want to know how can people get involved? How can young men get involved? Because that breaks my heart what you just said. So how can more people get involved to change that with your organization?
Well, right now, I'm looking to obtain the first property right now.
Okay.
And get these young men out of the streets, because the demographic that I serve is the young men with guns in their hands and hopelessness in their eyes. Right now, they may not, it's 10:21 Chicago time, they may not wake up to 2, 3 in the afternoon. They've been out all night, this and that. And like I said, the reason why I came up with it is because you got to give these young men an alternative. It's certain indicators that lets you know that stocks are going to rise or fall in the stock market, but there's certain indicators that allows you to know that a society is failing. And one is the women. Minister Farrakhan always says, as the quality of the woman goes down in the society, so does the society for which she lives in. And as our women have turned into doing things for likes on Instagram, to fighters and twerkers, our young women are looking like, and our young men are looking like gun toters and drug users. That's the problem. And so when I came home, that was an indication, like, first of all, I saw a lot of young men on the side of the world beating buckets. And I'm like, what is this? What is really going on? Like, I've never seen this in our city.
Right.
And then I saw, like, the quality of women so low.
Yeah.
And what they accept in a man. So I'm like, man, we got to get this together. So, you know, when I was like, realistic alternatives, you're taking up people that haven't had structure in your life. The demographic that I'm serving is that 18 to 25-year-old right now. And they haven't had structure in their life in a long time. They haven't had jobs. And in order to solve the problem, it's going to come from us.
Right.
Because that's what the walk was about. The walk was literally about me taking my position in Chicago. Our elders is not going to give us anything. You have to take your position. And when you know you chosen, and I prayed and I asked God for guidance, and I woke up and tapped my girlfriend, Dana Lene, and said I was walking to the White House, this walk went against everything they say about a young black man in America. For one, we start things and don't finish them. Mission was complete.
Wow.
We lazy. You cannot be lazy walking to the White House.
Exactly.
That we're unintelligent. Every time I engage man, woman, and child, articulate, intelligent black man. And then finally they look for the anger in us. Angry black man, angry black woman. And I do everything with a smile. You know, but it was, if you can say that was the short game, that was my short game. The long game was showing that I complete something, showing that I'm a man of my word, showing that I can stay on task and complete a mission, but come back home to the return, the planning, getting with us. What does Blacktown look like? You know, in our community, black folks buy the best cars but don't own gas stations.
Yeah.
We don't own grocery stores, and we have a credit problem in our community, and we don't own credit providers. I mean, we don't own phone companies, you know what I'm saying? So we have a credit problem, meaning that most of our community don't have contract phones.
Right.
They go to the local cell phone service providers. And we don't own that either. Those are the residual incomes. Those are the incomes that you make money while you sleep.
Exactly.
Because I was always taught if you got to wake up to make your money, you're not making money.
Right.
You know, the people that make money, making money and waking up to money.
Right.
And then after we get it's the return, the planning, what does Blacktown look like? Because our kids can't be what they can't see. If you've never been in a community that faces like you own things and service your own community, you're gonna feel inferior. You're gonna feel not good enough. So after we get ourselves together and get our agenda together, and then it's the takeover, which is the take back of our community. Gentrification, I don't mind. I don't mind gentrification if it's a partnership with the community, not a takeover. You can't come in and put your values and more. If it's good, yeah, but you got to understand you're coming into our culture and our community. This is not a takeover.
Right.
And for a long time, we've been voiceless people in our community. We've been reactive instead of proactive.
That is so powerful, because that brings me to thinking about who's in charge as far as leadership. Because I know that the midterm elections is coming up. We're about 50 days away from it, and we have seven black candidates overall.
It's only 7?
Well, overall 12.
Exactly.
Now that Daily just entered the race.
Right.
And so, what do you think, like personally from you, what would you like to see done for our city?
Well, honestly, I feel like our leadership has been failing us for a long time. Statistically, since Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King died, statistically we have gotten worse. In 50 years, we have gotten worse. Incarceration, unemployment. We still only have 1% of the wealth in America 50 years later. So when you look at it, you know, I put on Instagram, and a lot of people didn't understand, but I look in the mirror first. So I felt like our pastors were failing us. In the black community, we have to, you know, we still doing the same thing in a black church that we did 50 years ago. Our churches have to come up to an entrepreneurial church. It has to come up to where you're leveraging the monies that you're putting in this bank, not using your own money, but you're leveraging the millions of dollars that goes into these banks from the black churches into getting us better mortgages in our community, business loans. You know, you can leverage that money. You have a lot of say, so you can just tell them, okay, if you're gonna continue to be predatory lenders in our community, we're gonna take our money out of your bank. Believe me, they're gonna get it together. So it has to go, and then I feel like our aldermen are the first line of defense. And for me, it seems like Arabs have monopolies on liquor licenses in our community, on getting businesses in our community. Koreans own most of the nail shops in our community. Like I said, I don't mind them coming in, but it's not a takeover. These businesses should partnership with someone that looks like us. Construction sites need to look like us. You know, so we got to have a voice in our community. When it comes to this mayor race, I'm disappointed because at the end of the day, they're going to break up the black vote. And it's not going to be centralized to one or two candidates. We need to figure out who's the most valuable candidate, and let's go with that person, you know, because all it's going to do is break up the black vote. A daily getting in it, name recognition. The dailies have done a lot in this town. If Chewy gets in the race, they go to Mexican vote. You know, so we got to figure out what is our agenda, and black folks don't have proper ask. We don't have the proper ask. If you ask 10 black people, what is the black agenda? It's going to be 10 different answers. We don't have centralized things that we harness all our power and our strength into getting. Like Mexicans have the border stuff that they're going through, and immigration and all those things, ICE and all that. Other people have their own thing. You're never going to see a black business in Chinatown. I've never seen it. But you have Chinese and all these other races in Blacktown. So we got to get a voice. We got to come together. We got to stand up. And we need each other. It's not just the black man. It's not just the black woman. I don't point fingers. I have to do my part.
Right. And that's why I love what you're doing, because you're trying to make a change.
Yes.
You're not just talking about it, you're taking action.
Exactly.
And that's why I'm just so proud of you. I mean, for you to walk from Chicago to the White House, like, I mean, that just speaks volumes about your character.
Right. I was part of the problem. Now I'm one of the faces of the solution. And I say
Right.
one of the faces because you have to be careful with the words you use. I am not the only face of change in Chicago. I am not a gatekeeper. I'm not the only person that's doing great things in our community. So, you know, some people get on TV and say, no, I'm the only one. I'm not the only one. With me is God, family, friends, and the village.
Yes.
I deflect. I didn't walk for me.
Come
I
on.
walked for us.
Come on.
I walked because God put something in me and an assignment in me that was for me, but for us.
Come on.
FUBU, for us, by us.
Yes.
And so, although I walk for black people first, because that's what God made me, I walk for humanity.
Yes. Yes.
As a whole, we all hurt in it. You got to think, I walked through Indiana, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Maryland. They have the same, poor people and poverty has a state of mind and symptoms. We all going through it. You know, when I talk about poverty in America, I look at it like you're gonna have police violence in those communities, whether it be black or white, because police don't respect poor people. Poor people can't afford lawyers. They can't afford this and that. Police just do what they wanna do in those communities. Political corruption, because 9 times out of 10, poor people don't follow the money. And what usually happens in those communities is politicians feel like they're smarter than everybody. You're going to pay to play, or they go get kickbacks from their friend for giving them contracts. Then you're going to have alcoholism and drug abuse, because hurt people are hurting people. They're looking for numbing. They're looking to numb those feelings. And then another thing, you're going to have a lot of young people with a lot of energy with nothing to do. And then you're going to have a lot of abandoned buildings and crumbling infrastructure, which is why I created Replace Guns with Hammers, because you have a lot of young men and women with nothing to do, not going to college. But then you got a ton of abandoned buildings in these communities. So why not put that together, harness that energy, and once they get the trades, that allows them to explore. A lot of these kids only stay in the men and women only stay in these 2-3 block radiuses because they're scared to go anywhere. They don't have the tools, they don't have the mindset. There's a lot more of the world than what your eyes can see.
Yeah.
So, you know, I tackle the issues, I walk to be able to talk.
Right.
You know, and like I say, I don't point a finger at you if I'm not, and then 3 pointing back at me anyway. So I have to, Michael Jackson said it best, I'm starting with the man in the mirror.
Yes.
So I want to be the change that I want to see in the world. So one of the things that's been a problem in our community has been opioid addiction. Our kids are dying from lean. Fredo, one of Chief Keef's best friends, died from lean use. Pill popping is the thing for our kids. And so maybe about a week ago, I just went on Instagram, and I do things publicly because I want to hold myself accountable. And I said in order to help these young men and women, I was going to refrain from any alcoholic beverage for the rest of my life. Wow. Because it's hurtful.
Yes.
You know, and, you know, even with this walk.
And I was just finna say,
Go ahead.
with the walk, now are you still walking in your Nikes?
No, well,
how do you?
I didn't even walk in Nikes.
Because I was going to
walk
ask.
in Hoka.
Oh,
Hoka is, and Fleet Feet came on board when I did Windy City Live. Fleet Feet came on board, and actually, Pastor Corey Brooks was pivotal in me even being able to be successful in the walk. But also, he took and brought me my first pair of shoes, and they were Hoka.
wow.
And I didn't understand the science of walking. You have to wear special socks, your skin to chafe, and all these things. And he was pivotal in helping me. But like, it's just, I still walk.
Right.
I still am out here daily. I still am the boots on the ground piece.
Yeah.
I'm in the clubs where, you know, most people don't go, that I wouldn't even want you to go. But where I don't want you to be, your resources can be, your money can be, your connections can be.
Yeah.
You know,
And I was thinking with the shoes, I was going to ask, now how do you feel about, I know you said the brand you were walking in, but how do you feel about Nike supporting Colin Kaepernick?
I'm ecstatic about
Yeah.
it. You know, a lot of times when God puts something in you, the world don't understand it. Just like the walk. Like, I had friends was like, what the heck? Are you serious? But when they saw I was serious, you know, you just got to understand that sometimes God puts things in you that even your mother can't understand. Because he put it in you. If it was meant for everybody else, he would put it in everybody else.
Yes.
I prayed and I fasted about this before he gave it to me. I asked God for direction, and I get specific with my prayers, and I have a relationship with God, and I'm obedient more than anything.
Yes.
I didn't even walk when I was incarcerated, so I asked God, you know, how are you going to use walking to liberate and position me? And I questioned it, but I listened.
Yes.
Because when I didn't listen to God, I got in a position where I didn't want to be, in a place which was jail. I didn't listen to God. God gave me all the signs that was leading up to jail, but I was hard-headed. So now in my life, I'm like, okay, God, I'm going to question it, but I'm going to do it.
Yes.
And just do it like Nike. So Colin Kaepernick is an amazing young man. He actually kneeled and stood for something. And it's cliche, but if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything.
And that brings me to the last, and I know you guys, I'm pretty sure you don't want D-Nash to go, because I don't want him to go either, but if you could leave us with some last thoughts of how we can follow you, support you, and just anything that you would like to say to the audience.
Well, I only got one number, so DM me if you would like to connect with me. D-Nash 425 on Instagram, Demetrius Nash on Facebook. I'm down to earth. I did this for us. I'm always deflecting. History lets you know that when a man becomes greater than the plan, they killed a man in America. A la Martin, Malcolm. You know, I've studied Gandhi. I've studied the greats, and I've learned that don't get bigger than the plan. Don't get bigger than the mission.
Right.
As God continues to bless you, I look to glorify more of God and less in me.
Yes.
I just want people to really see God when they look at me as to the blessing, because I'm only here by God's grace and mercy.
Yes.
This doesn't have nothing to do with me. I recently went Thursday I went to Memphis, and I was at this month is recovery month, and I was in Memphis, and I went to a church where a guy named Seymour Finney used to hide slaves.
Oh, wow.
During the Underground Railroad. And it was just I touched those types of spirits. Yeah. And I put on there, I said, my life is no longer mine, it is yours. You know, so that's just what I want everybody to understand, man. I'm just a man, I'm doing this for us. I didn't expect everybody to walk. God didn't give everybody my assignment, but you can do something. And if you see something in me, please DM me. I'll shoot you my number. And I don't accept money from everybody. I don't accept, because if your heart is not in the right place, I move with the spirit. My spirit is very, very strong, discerning spirit. You can be my friend in a nanosecond. Yeah. But then one of my parts of my prayer is, Lord, you know, please remove anyone or anything that's not good for me.
Yes. And
sometimes when you think that those people are supposed to be in your life, when you say specific prayers like that, you'll be shocked at who God brings in your life and who he removes.
Removes.
And I'm fine with that.
Wow. Thank you so much, D-Nash. Thank you so much for coming on. Such an amazing person, you guys. Make sure you follow him, okay? Make sure you follow my boy, D-Nash. Well, no shout, no doubt, without question, I am LWOO, the powerhouse. Peace, y'all.
Hells.
Bye, guys.
You know, the youngsters say L's up for my haters.
Hey.
It is what it is.
L's up for the haters.
Hey girl, what's up? How you doing? Okay, wait,